Hello everyone. I think we are live. So today we're gonna have this awesome webinar about uh, personal income tax in Portugal, just to help you out a little bit when this time comes around. That is all. That is almost at the end of it in the final of May or June, if I'm not mistaken, Jack. But you'll correct me, June, in a minute. Just let me do like a quick introduction about myself and about Landing.Jobs too, and then I'll pass the word to you, Tiago, just for you to present yourself a little bit. We will record this session, of course, okay? So you will have the time afterwards to replay a little bit. We will have time, of course, also to do the Q&A at the end. So please leave your questions here in the chat and I'll gather them out and then present to Tiago at the end of his presentation. So some of you already know me, some of you already changed a word with me recently and in the last few months too. I'm responsible for the HR ops part of Landing.Jobs at the moment, and recently I also do some managing of some visas also for our employer of record, and basically just to do a little bit of introduction of Landing.Jobs too. So we are in the IT market for over 10 years now, and so we have a lot of knowledge in the market, in the IT market. We'll have a lot of insights too to share, and of course today we have Tiago to share his insights about the personal income tax too. But we do a little bit of everything. We are like this awesome one-stop shop. So we do basically everything from recruitment to managing, as I told you before. For example, the employer of record part. We also do the visas. We gather the best solution for what people want at the moment, for the companies and also for the talent itself. No, Tiago, I'm gonna pass the word to you just for you to present a little bit better. Tiago is gonna be our speaker today. He's our tax expert, and he works in Atlantic Advisory as a managing partner there.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Nice to be here, and thank you for the invitation, Thelma. Okay, so as Thelma was saying, we are going to try to explain a little bit how it's done a tax return. Of course, with limited time, it's not possible to dig into all the details because it's quite complex. Tax returns are not so easy to do, but I will try to cover like an overall view with the main features that the tax authorities deliver to everyone, of course, and with the majority of the incomes that normally people have, like salaries and freelance and maybe some dividends, and also for NHR, which I believe some of you are also non-habitual residents. So basically it's an overview. We will only have 40 minutes, and I will dig into some details on the most common parts of the tax return, okay? So let's do it. I'm going to share the screen because the best thing to do is to show you a live example. Okay,
Tiago,
can you confirm for us? Yeah.
Okay, awesome, Jack. We are already seeing your screen. I'm gonna leave the stage just for you to have the stage for you and to present your case and to explain everything to our to the people that are assisting this webinar. So see you in a minute.
Okay. All right. So I believe you are all seeing the screen, and of course I'm at the tax authority portal, which everyone I believe also know the address. And to deliver the tax return, we of course need to log in. I'm going to log in with my own NIF, okay? Because of privacy rules, I cannot show any other NIF. So this is mine. And of course the password each one have. So let's log in. Okay, so once you are here, first tip, by the way, anytime you are lost in the website, this is the homepage button. Okay, so if you click here, Minha área, my area, it's the homepage button. And as you can see, down here, you have these 6 shortcuts. For freelancers raise invoices, you can use this one. And you have a shortcut for the tax return. Okay, so I'm going to use this one to enter. All right, and then you are here, you have several options to search for previous year's tax returns. You also have, it's not possible to everyone, but people that only have salaries in Portugal, it's possible to deliver an automatic tax return. I don't advise you to do, okay? So the first tip, never do the automatic IRS, because sometimes, not to say almost of the times, the taxes are higher to pay or less tax to be refunded. So it's always a good idea to do the tax return, okay? So to deliver, let's click here. And then you have these four options. The first one is to deliver a tax return pre-filled, salaries, capital gains in Portugal, and freelance income. They are, some of the options are already pre-filled, so it's good to start with the one that is already pre-filled. The second option is to upload a file from a previous tax return. Let's say you start a tax return and then I'm going to show you how to save, and you want to come back to complete the tax return, you choose this second option. The third option is to open a previous tax return delivered. Let's say you want to fix something or you want to replace a tax return from previous years. You have to choose this option. And the last one is to deliver a tax return from the scratch, okay? I'm going to do it from the scratch so you can see how it's done and to have all the options. But in your case, I advise you to choose the first option to get some information that will be already pre-filled there, okay? So I'm going to choose the last option, and that's it. Okay, first of all, the tax return is structured with some attachments, and these are the attachments. And each attachment corresponds to one type of income, okay? So the first one, the A, is by letters, as you can see. The attachment A is for salaries or pensions from Portuguese companies. And it's one of the attachments that will be pre-filled if you choose the first option, like I told you. The second attachment is for the freelancers. So all the income from the freelancers needs to deliver this attachment. The C attachment is also for freelancers, but on the bookkeeping regime. As you know, freelancers have the simplified regime without bookkeeping, this attachment B, and the ones that have the bookkeeping needs to deliver also this attachment C. This one is for freelancers, not freelancers, but someone that has a company unipessoal, so one shareholder with 100% of the shares, they might need to deliver this one, and from other type of incomes, okay? And I don't know the word in English correctly, I think it's inheritance, something like that, when you heir something from your parents, for example. The E is for capital gains and all the capital income we might receive from Portugal. The F is for rentals. The G is for capital gains and other capital gains and other income we might receive that is not classified in these ones. This is also for capital gains, but the ones that are exempt from taxes. This one is to deliver the tax benefits we may have in the deductions that today is being replaced by the e-fatura. I don't know if you heard about e-fatura, but you also can do it manually with this attachment. These are also for inheritances. The G is for income received in outside of Portugal, foreign countries. The L is for non-habitual residents, and the C is for Social Security. So the main ones that we are going to cover quickly are this one. Majority of the people have salaries. Also, so many people have freelance income, because most of you, I believe, majority are foreigners, or at least someone that came to Portugal that are not Portuguese natives but are living here. So you might have also income from abroad, and the NHR and the Social Security. So these one, two, three, four, five are the main ones that we are going to cover in this session, okay? So let's start with this one, but I'm going back and open a pre-field so you can see already field there. Maybe it's better just for you to see how is the outcome. So you choose the year. This is my NIF. And this is one thing I also need to tell. Anyone that is married or not married in church or in paper, but someone that live with another person and they work as a couple and have the same address and work as a family. And if you want to deliver the tax return, in the majority of the cases is more beneficial. With your spouse, you need to choose this option to deliver with another person. And then you have to put the NIF of your spouse. Okay, and in both will be updated all the information also. So I'm going to put single. Okay, so as you can see, in my case, I already have the salaries attachment, the C, because I'm a freelancer as well, but with bookkeeping, and the G because of also the freelancer and some other capital gains I have. Okay, so the tax authority already know that I have salaries because my employer communicates to the tax authority the salaries I paid. They, of course, already know I'm a freelancer because I'm registered as a freelancer. And they already know that I had some capital gains because, of course, the banks and all the, even if you sell a house or whatever capital gain you have, the payer communicates to the government. So they know I have these three type of incomes. Okay, so this is the output. All right, so I'm going to open just again one. I just wanted to show you how it looks. Let's do from the scratch. All right, so attachment A. In the attachment, you have here the board with the company identification, the employer, the NIF of the employer, the type of salaries. You can have normal salaries, bonuses, pensions, whatever. The taxpayer will be here, okay? That will be the taxpayer A if you are doing, and the B is going to be our spouse. Then you have to put the total income, the withholdings that you paid, the contributions for the Social Security, and these were other taxes or quotations for unions that you also might be paying. So in that case, all of this information will be pre-filled, but basically it's in this first board that you have to indicate, to declare all of the incomes you receive in salaries, okay? Some options, again, like I told you in the beginning, are very specific options and with different years and something like that. I'm not going to explain all the details, otherwise we'll be here all the week, okay? So this is the main one. When you receive salaries, they will be here filled by default. And in 99% of the cases of you that having salaries from Portuguese companies, you even don't need to do anything in this attachment. So this is the one that you don't need to worry about because you'll be 100% filled and you don't need to change anything. Just look into it, confirm if the total salary is correct. For sure it will be, but nevertheless, just confirm, and that's it, okay? So the second one for the freelancer, you have to, this one is also there by default, as you can see. This is when you receive a business from a relative, something like that, you need to put it here. And say no, of course, it's not the case. I'm a normal freelancer. And our tax number. Again, this will be here by default. I'm just doing from the scratch. And as you can see, you have so many options. So I'm going to quickly run all of them. First option is to tell to the tax authorities if you are in the simplified regime or if you just raise one invoice. I don't know if you are aware, but all the taxpayers in Portugal can raise only one invoice as a freelancer, and we don't need to register the freelance activity. So that's why this option is here. So in this case will be, yes, we are a freelancer in the simplified regime. Then these last two are to tell if it is professional services or agriculture. Professional service, I believe it will be the majority of the case. The year of the income will be here by default, 2023 in this case. Here will be the taxpayers. Our tax number will be here by default. Our spouse tax number also here by default. I already choose this option before. It's not inheritance, so it's here by default as well. And then here we have to put the code of our activity. Okay, for example, I don't know, this is software engineers, but you should know your activity code, and this is the space you have to put it. If you have Kai, it's economic activity code. This one is for individuals. This is also for individuals, but can have the same activities as a company. You have it here to put. And this is the same, but for agriculture. Then the other option is to tell to the tax authority if you have a permanent establishment or not. One detail important here is if someone is not yet a Portuguese tax resident, but it are or is a freelancer, I advise you to put that you have a permanent establishment, okay? Because if you choose yes, even if you are a non-resident in Portugal, you will have the tax benefits from the freelancers like the residents have, okay? If you are already a tax resident in Portugal, and in fact you don't have a permanent establishment, the permanent establishment is like if you have an office, like companies do, restaurants. Let's say your business was a restaurant, and you have a restaurant, a physical place where you are making money and working. I believe most of you are working from home, are remote workers. So if you are Portuguese residents, you have to choose no. If you are not and you are working in Portugal, choose yes, okay? So I'm going to put no. These last options are for ex-residents in Portugal, so I'm not going to cover it. And this one is the Jovens Young. It's a tax benefit that the young people that finish college, they can benefit from tax deductions. So people that have the first job, let's say you finish college and you have your first job as a freelancer, it's your first job, then you have to fill this to show your qualifications and everything, the year you finish college, to have the benefit from the tax authorities, okay? Now the second board, it's to put all the income you have, and the income is divided by type of income. As you can see, you have many options. The one that will be applicable to the majority of you guys is this one. So the income from the freelancers that are only services provided. So this one, it's the one where you have to put the income that you received in the last year. All the others are subsidies, pensions, and other types. I think it's not important to cover now. Second option is, and this is a very important one, if you have 100% of your total income to only one entity, and this is quite common, remote workers are working for a foreign company, so they have 100% of the income to only one company, you have to put here yes. This is the question. Does the total income you earned was provided to only one entity? Yes or no? So if it's your case, you have to choose yes. But, and don't forget this, but this is important, you have to choose no here. You don't want to pay taxes according to the category A. Okay, you will pay way more taxes if you choose yes. Okay, because freelancers pay less taxes. You have at least 25% of your total income is free of tax. You only pay taxes on 75% of your total income. So if you choose here, yes, you will be paying from 100. Basically, your income as a freelancer will be added to your salaries. And then from the total income you have, both from salaries and freelance, will pay from 100%. Okay? So if it's the case, don't forget, no, you don't want to pay taxes according to category A. All right? And this is important one again. Okay, so for the freelancers that at least have 2 years as a freelancer in Portugal, probably you already know what it is pagamento por conta, and you were notified to pay in advance the income tax. And the payments are according to the total income you have in the last year, the previous year. So here will be filled also automatically all the payments you made upfront during the year, the pagamentos por conta, that of course will be deducted from the total tax that you will pay in the year, okay? This is the board where that information will be. 7 is for a specific situation when people have more than 200,000 euros in only one receipt, to choose again which income you have as a professional or agriculture. So I'm not going to cover this one because most of you are not going to need it. Otherwise, it's also a very complex to explain. The second one is to see if you have some properties related to your business in which you have to tell to the tax authority if you have sold or buy or transfer some private properties to your business properties to your business. So also in the majority of the cases, you are not transferring properties from your private situation to a business situation. So I'm going to cover this one because are mandatory fields, but basically with the options that will apply to most of you. Okay, so the first question is asking, and it's a regime that is in place since 2021, so we have to fill it. Is asking if you sell any property to your business. So I believe you will know. And if you have any property that you are using for your business, okay, which is no. And then this one, it's not necessary to fill because it's only up to 2021, because in 2021 these laws changed. This one is after 2021. So again, you have to tell no, that in this year you didn't have any property in your business. And here again, no and no. Okay. So if you read in Portuguese, some questions might seem the same, in kind of are the same, but it's different when you transfer. So it's only legal details, but important in case you have any property in your business. Okay. But you have to tell it. And otherwise, if you will move forward, you will see that these options will be here in red to fill. Okay, so second board, next one is for capital gains on some investments that you make in properties. Okay, you have to identify here. Again, it's one of the boards you probably don't need to fill, so I'm going to just move to the next one. The next one is very similar from this one, from the properties, but in this case is for shares and equity in companies. If you buy and sell companies, or if you transfer companies from your business to your own name, something like that. But basically it's the same, and you have to tell no. So did you sell any equity in any company? No, no. And if yes, and you have capital gains from that sale, you have to identify here the company that you sell the shares, the year you sold, the percentage of the equity you have in the company, and the year that you bought or you incorporate the company. Okay. And this one is basically when people transfer the residency from Portugal to outside of Portugal. You also have to identify the country that you are moving to. If you're a European Union country here, if it is another country, it will be here. Okay. So next one. This one is when hopefully never happened and you never need it, when some our parents, for example, someone in our family dies and we inherit the losses of some business or the gains, we have to identify here the business that we inherit. This is for people that pay autonomous tributation, autonomous tax. Majority of you will not, because this is more when we have bookkeeping. Here is when you receive subsidies. These are other type of informations. This board is when we receive subsidies from companies, we have to identify here. I believe you will don't need it. This one is a mandatory field. We have to put here, for example, the total amount we receive, the total income, the same in here. I'm going to put the real example. So this amount, let's say that I only have as a freelancer 10,000 euros from here. Here I have to put the total that I receive, and you will see right after why you need to put here the total and also here. But these totals should match. And here is to make some corrections from previous years in the total income that you declared in previous years that you can have here. Okay, it's a board that you don't need. So I'm going just to look down here to this option for people that have Airbnb. This is the board where you have to inform to the tax authorities if your property is in the, I don't know how to say in English, que é área de contenção. For the ones that have Airbnb, there are some regions, some areas in the cities where the tax is higher because our city is very populated. And the others that are outside on that contention area, I don't know how to say in English, the taxes are normal. So basically here you have to say that yes, it is, or no, it isn't. Okay. This one is also necessary and the mandatory field. And you have to tell to the tax authority if you sold or not cryptocurrencies, crypto assets, not currencies, crypto assets. Okay. If you made some transactions with crypto assets, you have to tell yes. If you don't, you just put don't. And here it's to identify the property from the Airbnb in case you have Airbnb business, because Airbnb business, when is not done under a company, it's a freelance income. It falls into this category, and that's why it's here, and you have to fill. So basically, it's just to put here, sorry, Airbnb here in the F, yes or no. Let's say you don't have in this case. And here, if yes, you will need to identify the property and when you began the contract for the Airbnb, etc. Okay. So next one, you have to tell if you close your activity or not. So let's say you didn't close. If you close, you have to put here the date you close the activity. If you close, they are asking if you transfer your business, your freelancer business, to a company or not. So let's put not. And if you tell yes, you have to identify here the company of which you transfer your business as a freelancer. Any year that you didn't have any income as a freelancer, but still you have your freelance activity open, you have to click this box saying that in this year you didn't have any income as a freelancer. Okay. For this one is the Airbnb rule. So before you told the tax authority you have Airbnb, and here you need to choose, and this one is also important for the people that have Airbnb. I'm just going to quickly underline this. If you have had Airbnb business, they are asking you, and this for me is a trap, they are asking you if you want to pay taxes according to the rentals. Rentals are the F category, the ones that we already show here, okay? And if you say yes, in 95% of the cases, you will pay more taxes, okay? Always choose no. You want to pay the Airbnb taxes, because Airbnb only 35% of your total income will be subject to taxes. And in rentals, it's different. You will pay more. Okay. So for you that have Airbnb business, here put no. You don't want to pay taxes according to the rental rules. Okay. And then you have to identify here the business again and the property, sorry, and the total income you receive for the Airbnb business. All right. And the next one, it's the same, but not for income, for expenses and taxes. Okay. Condominium, this is the municipality tax, stamp tax, and so ever. And one detail I forgot to mention, and this is very common. You see here these numbers. So anytime, many boards, you have to add lines. Let's say you have 3 properties. You have to put like the instructions here, 1501. So this one will be 1502 and so on and so on. Okay. That's the reason why we have this here. And this works for every boards. Okay, so income costs, and this one is for properties that you recover, because I believe you heard that when you buy a property and you want to recover the property, refurbish, make some reconstruction on the properties, you have tax benefits. So you will be identifying here which property you have make some refurbishment or some improvements on the property because of tax benefits. And the last option is if you want to englobate, to add the income from the Airbnb business to your total income. Okay, this is another one very important. Choose no, because the majority of the cases you will pay less taxes. Okay, when you see this word englobamento, think it like it's ringing some bells. Okay, ringing some bells because englobamento means that the total income you have in all the categories, freelancer, professional income, freelancer, Airbnb, salaries, or any other incomes, means that will be added to the same basket, let's say, and then you have a total income that will be the sum of each type of income. And with that total income, you will fit in some IRS category, some IRS bracket, and you will pay that tax. So for the freelancers, for the NHRs, the NHRs, it's kind of irrelevant, this option, because you will pay a flat rate of 20. But to the ones that don't have the NHR, this makes difference. So in the majority of the case, it's always better not to englobate. Only for people that have low incomes, it might be better. Okay. We are almost there. Last one. These options is when the freelancers sell any house, any property and related to the business in which you have to deduct the municipality tax. Okay. And this one, remember I told you in the beginning that this H attachment annex is for the deductions that is being replaced by the F-Fatura. Okay, so here they are asking if your expenses that we have in F-Fatura, anytime you buy something and you put your NIF, the government knows you have had that expense, and they will upload that expense to our F-Fatura. So if you want, and if you have your F-Fatura updated, you have to choose no. You want the government to consider the expenses that you already have because they are correct, or yes. And in this case, as you can see, they are asking to fill the attachment of the expenses. So if you put yes, you have to add the attachment H and put there all the expenses manually. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it because the path is one day and it's not so far away. This is going to be done automatically. So this is the option, and you have to put no. You don't want to put it manually. You want to consider the expenses that you already have in F-Fatura. Okay? Last one. doesn't apply. This is when for people that have properties and were burned by fire, and you can deduct the costs that the fire gave to your properties. So I'm going to leave it blank, and that's it. Okay, so next attachment, most common one are the capital ones. So for people that have interests from banks, for example, dividends, any type of financial income we might receive, it's this attachment from Portuguese companies. Okay, here 401 per line. Again, this is the NIF of the bank or the entity that is paying, and the code of the income. So, for example, dividends and interests, ownership of funds that you sell, etc., profits from companies listed, and so on and so on. Okay, so basically all the type of capital income that we may receive, it's in this attachment that we need to fill. Titular is the taxpayer, like in every board, and the total income, okay? And again, ring the bell. Englobamento, oops, no, okay? Don't forget, englobamento is asking if you want to add this income to your total income and pay the rate of the correspondent bracket. So it's no. This one is to also include the capital gains, but that are paying taxa liberatória is, I'm just going to quickly mention because you might have in some dividends, okay? Because when we receive dividends, we can pay a flat rate of 28% in Portugal, or we can just add to the normal capital gains. So this is the board where the type of income that are paying a flat rate, and we don't have the option of the englobamento, it's here we have to list that income, okay? But most importantly, if you have income, it's this one, and you have to add. Okay, so now the J, where is the J? Here. Wait, sorry. This is your tax number. So the J is for foreign income, okay? Assuming most of you have income from outside of Portugal, it's here you have to declare. So again, this will be your tax numbers. Here you will have this option to put the country that you are originally from, okay? Not necessarily the country that paid you the income, okay? This is your nationality. The second board is the third board is to declare the salaries you receive. Categoria A are salaries. So if you receive salaries as an employee from a foreign company, is here you have to add, and basically it's the same information that you have here. Okay, the entity, the country that paid you the income, etc., etc. Here is to put the payments in advance in case you pay taxes in advance, pagamentos por conta, in that country. And here you have to tell, for example, you have, this is the line 1 because it's this one. You have to tell if you were in that country more or less than less or more than 183 days. Okay, so if you were living in Portugal and working remotely, will be this option less. This is only for Spanish citizens that live, Portuguese citizens and Spanish citizens that live near our border from Spain. And this option is for people that are working in public missions, like politics or something like that. Okay, so it will be no. And here it's for ex-residents that were working outside of Portugal and they come to Portugal let's say in the middle of the year. So half of the income is from outside of Portugal and the other is in Portugal. So it's not necessary for you. Okay, so the main idea is Attachment J is divided by type of income again, and this one is for the salaries. The next one are for the deductions or pensions. Sorry, for the pensions only. Okay, and you have to here to put the entity that pays you the pension. It's the same structure. If you paid any advance tax in that country, if you this is the original of the pension. If you are receiving from the social security of the other country, or directly from the company that was employing you or other, and this is for people that receive temporary or non-ending for life pension. And again, if you want to englobate, to add all the incomes like the others, yes or no, don't forget, no. In the majority of the cases, is always no is better, okay? So salaries, pensions, business income, this I believe is going to be the majority of the cases for you. If you have businesses from other countries, let's say you have a company from another country, if you are working for a foreign company as a freelancer in Portugal, for example, this is the board, the number 6, where you need to identify those incomes, okay? So again, and then the type of business income, commercial and business one, agriculture, professional activities. These are the same ones as the B attachment. Okay, so if you are a freelancer in Portugal working for foreign countries, it should be this option, B3. In all the other sports, artists, intellectual property, so if you are writers or everything, crypto assets, if you are working in the crypto world, like a miner or whatever. So the majority will be here. This is the type of income. And the country that is paying you, if you have a permanent establishment in that country, yes or no, the total income, the security that you pay in that country, if that's the case. If not, leave it blank. The tax that you pay in the other country, and if you pay any type of tax in Portugal for the same income you receive. Okay, so you will have to put here the income, and here, if you don't have, just leave it blank. And the same as before, you have to tell to the tax authority if you were more or less than 183 days, so it will be less. Okay. All right. So quickly, because we are running out of time, this one is for rentals. You have to identify the property. This one is for capital gains, same as I already explained here, the type of capital gains, the country that is paying, the total tax you pay in that country. And if you want, as you already know, you are seeing this word englobement, and the option is no. Okay. Other type of incomes that are not listed, so salaries, pensions, business income, rentals, property incomes, capital incomes, all the other are not listed here. It's in this board. Incomes from other years, okay, that you forgot to declare, for example. And here you have to identify all the bank accounts that you have outside of Portugal. You just need to put the bank account number and the SWIFT code, we call it BIC. And basically it's only this. You don't have to, and they don't have access to our bank accounts. We just need to identify here the bank accounts we have outside of Portugal. Okay. So finally, this is for the non-habitual resident. Let's see if it works, because I'm not. Yeah, this is from the scratch. So the NHR attachment, the logical behind is to tell to the tax authority to link the income we have, from the total income we have, which ones we want to link to the NHR benefits. Okay, because, for example, salaries and freelancing, you are working as professional service providers, right? You are doing your profession. So we have to tell to the tax authority that the salaries that we receive were from that professional activity that is eligible for the NHR. Okay, this is the whole point of this attachment. So again, this is basically your identification. For the ones that got the NHR before 2019, we have to say yes. The others is no, if you got it after, of course. And then you have the professional income that you receive from Portugal, Território Nacional, it's Portuguese territory, or outside of Portugal, and which type of regimes or taxes you want to be added, okay? So if it is salaries in Portugal, you have to identify the, let's say, the tax number from the company, the type, like here, basically you just need to copy paste the information here. You see, let's say you have here a salary, this is normal salary, and they come and you pay here, let's say 1,000 euros tax, okay? So here we have to tell, this is the tax number of the company that is paying. You have to tell that you have this job, it's the same as here. And then for the ones that got the NHR before 2019, you have to put here the code of your profession. The ones that got it after 2019, it's here, okay? So here it's the long list of all the professions. Let's say you are IT guys and software engineers, I think it's 20 something, 25, yeah, here, programador de software, software engineer. This is very important because the type of activity you wear, it's going to determine if you are getting the NHR benefit or not. As you know, the NHR has the list of the added value professions. And the total income, it's here, okay? So basically, you here have your salary declared, and you are going to say, yes, the salary that I receive in Portugal is from my added value profession, and you put here the amount. So you'll be paying 20% here. The same for freelancer, okay? Taxpayer of the tax number of the company that is paying you, the type of income, it should be the same one as here, okay? And the code of your profession and the total income, okay? The same, but with bookkeeping. And this is another one that you don't need for now. It's not important. So the Portuguese income, professional income you receive, it's here. You have to identify to link your salaries to the benefit of the NHR, okay? And for income received outside of Portugal, it's the same. As you can see, it's here by default only A and B, because if you receive from other countries, capital gains, dividends, rentals, whatever, are passive income, and passive income don't pay 20, it's not the professional income. So again, you have to put it here in case you put the income from abroad. It should be somewhere like here. Sorry, where I was here. The number of the line, the codes of the activity. If outside of Portugal you had salaries, it's A. Of freelancing, it's B. The country that was paying you, the total income, and then you have to put the tax you paid abroad. And if you don't have tax, in this case, you don't have to leave it. You cannot leave it blank. You have to click this box saying that you didn't pay income in the other country, okay? And the same for pensions and deductions if you have in the other countries, all right? And then, and all of this, of course, will pay 20. And then finally, you have here these options. In case of category A salaries, if you want to pay the 20%, you have to choose this option. If you choose englobamento, you will pay the normal taxes, okay? So again, englobamento, no, run away. If you have lower incomes, you might be paying less than 20. That's why this option is here, okay? So for the people that have low income, Englobamento, it's not a red alert, okay? You may pay a lower tax if you choose this option. The same for the category B. If you want to pay the 20%, you choose here. This one you don't need. It was for the previous laws before 2019. And finally, the option to choose, I believe you heard that the passive incomes the NHR receive from outside of Portugal are free of tax in Portugal, as long as the country that is paying is not an offshore and with certain conditions. But in general, the passive income don't pay tax in Portugal. So here it's the option you have to tell. If you don't want to pay, this is before 2019 and this is after. It's the only difference. If you don't want to pay tax in Portugal, you have to choose this option, exemption, okay? If you pay taxes, let's say you receive dividends from a company in the United States and you pay dividend tax in the United States. So you may choose not to pay here, okay? Or if you want, you may choose to use the amounts that you paid to deduct in the tax that you are going to pay in Portugal, okay? But in the majority of the cases, this is relevant if you receive dividends from, for example, an offshore company, because you will pay here in Portugal. And if you pay in that offshore country, although normally offshore companies don't charge dividend tax, but some tax haven countries, some countries may charge you dividend tax, a low one. So here it's the option you have to choose if you want to use the tax that you pay in that country to deduct the tax that you are going to pay in Portugal, okay? But the majority of the cases, again, will be isenção, exemption, okay? All right, so I covered all the attachments. We just have one, but it's very, very simple, just 2 minutes, the Social Security. And only for people, freelancers that are in the second year in Portugal and that already started paying Social Security, you have to add this attachment basically to tell to the tax authorities if your income came from the same company or not. So simplified regime, if you are in the bookkeeping regime, for example, mine will be here. I'm in the bookkeeping regime. Or if you are a shareholder with 100% of equity in one company, the year of the income will be here by default. You don't need, it's not mandatory, but this is your Social Security number. You might put it here. If you don't have income, you have to choose this option. But also, if you didn't have income, they don't demand you to deliver, to attach this annex. And here you have to put the total income you invoiced to as a freelancer. You have many types, but the one that you will need is this one for people or companies with business activity. So it's here you have to put the income. And then this one you don't need, basically. And here you have to tell if more than 50% of your invoices were to only one entity, you have to say yes, and then you have to identify the entity. If it's Portuguese company, you put here the tax number. If not, leave it blank, empty, and you put here the country of that company, the tax number of the company, and the total amount. Okay. This is important because if a Portuguese company, the tax authority then needs to notify the company that paid you more 50% of the income because of Social Security reasons, and they have to pay 10% Social Security, something like that. Okay? So I think I covered it all, although more than 40 minutes. I'm sorry, but it's so much things to do. I try to run them all. And just to finish, each type of annex is per income. So don't forget Portuguese income, freelancer, capital income. I didn't told, but the foreign income, it's this one, the J, but it's the same structure. Foreign income. Oh, sorry. Oh, it's here. Sorry. Okay, foreign income, capital income, foreign income, NHR, and Social Security. Okay? So, Thelma, stop sharing. I think we now have questions and answers, right?
Yes, exactly, Tiago. Thank you
Sorry
so
for
much.
taking more time. Like I told, I was afraid there's so much thing to say. It's not, unfortunately. It should be easy for everyone to deliver taxes, but there are so many options, so many
Details.
things. Yeah, it's very hard to in 40 minutes, 45, 1 hour to tell everything. And sorry if I miss any important detail, but I think I covered all the main ones, at least the main ones.
I think so, Tiago. And thank you again for your thoughtful insights. They were like great, and you explain it, at least try to explain in maximum detail what you can in 40-45 minutes, and we appreciate this a lot, especially for people that are doing are submitting the declaration for the first time and are non-Portuguese residents, for example. So this is a great help for them. So let's dig in some Q&A. We already have here some questions for you. So the first one, it is if it is possible to share some thoughts on how to declare the period of when we were residents and non-residents in the same year. Should we really submit two declarations?
Yes, that's one detail that I forgot to mention. Maybe again, screen. It's always better to see than to explain. Are you seeing my screen again?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so it's here. And I didn't mention this one, but this is our identification. Okay, maybe it's even easier if I open the one that is pre-filled, because the person that made the question will understand for sure. Okay, so this one is there for everyone. It's our information, in which, of course, the year, blah, 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 my name, you have, and here is where you have so to answer directly to the question, it's here. When we are 100% residents, so we spend the full year in Portugal, mainland, it's here, Açores and Madeira, of course. Non-residents, it's here, so 100% non-residents. And partial residency, it's here. So I believe this is the question the attendee made, right? So let's say you become or you turn a Portuguese resident in July the 1st, June the 1st, okay? So the income that you need to declare will be everything that you receive, every income from the 1st of June until the end of the year. The tax year in Portugal is January to December, not like in the UK and a few other countries. So this is here. You, of course, you don't need to fill this, and you just have to put here the dates. Okay, from the day you turn resident until the end of the year. So everything that you have, every income that you have before June, you don't need to declare it in Portugal because you were not a Portuguese resident.
Okay,
Okay.
awesome, Jack. I think you answered this question very well. And if you have, for the person who asked this, if you have like any other questions regarding this or concern, please let Tiago know too. We have another one. There is how to declare when the IRS was first paid by a Portuguese consultancy, and then when we change jobs and start sending recibos verdes invoices outside Portugal. How should we declare and pay?
The payment, to declare the recibos verdes outside of Portugal or inside Portugal is in this attachment, the B. This is the freelancer. Okay, it's in this one, like I mentioned, and it's a Portuguese company. We will put it here in the 403 boards. And if it is a foreign company that you are working for, you have to add the foreign income attachment, attach or annex, which is the J. Okay. And here. And let's say, for example, that half of the year you were working for a Portuguese company and you invoiced 6,000 euros. And the other half of the year you start working for a foreign company. So the attachment J for foreign income is salaries, pensions, business. So it will be here. And you have to put here professional income is this option. Let's say you are working to Andorra, you don't have a permanent establishment, and you invoiced another 6,000, and you didn't pay taxes, so leave it blank, okay? And you were less than 183 days in the country, okay? So in B, you have the amount that you invoice for a Portuguese company, and in G for a foreign company. But the total, informação complementar, I run it and told about this in the presentation. In this total, you have to put 12. That's the reason you have this option. Okay, so this is your total freelance income, regardless the country you are invoicing. And if it is a Portuguese company, you have to put it here. If it is a foreign company, you have to put in the business income from outside of Portugal in this board.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Tiago,
Okay,
thank you so much. So basically, um if we send like invoices from a Portuguese company, we have to do in one side, and for a foreign company on another side. But after all, we have to match every income in that page, right? The total of the income. Oh,
exactly.
awesome. I think it was like the main questions of this person. So thank you so much, Tiago, for explaining this. We have another question from Vasco Torres in this case. So he has some invoices on e-factura, but he also did some purchases on other European countries, and he has to add in H annex. But he is asking if I do have to fill in everything that was on e-factura or only the ones that weren't there. So,
First of all, the expenses from outside of Portugal, I'm almost sure are not deductible in Portugal. Okay, they are for VAT purposes. We can have another session for VAT. Okay, the VAT is relevant for the freelancers when we pay expenses, professional expenses in other countries, especially in European Union countries, because outside of European Union, probably the invoice doesn't have VAT. But for the IRS, I'm almost sure they are not deductible. However, the main expenses that are possible to deduct in our IRS are education,
mhm,
health, rentals in the first house, in a few amounts for the restaurants and gyms and car shops that are insignificant, but it's a few bucks we can deduct. But the majority are education and health. So unless Vasco didn't have a health expense, health bill outside of Portugal, I think it's irrelevant what he paid outside of Portugal. And even though it should have Vasco NIF, so the even if it is possible to deduct, it should have the Portuguese NIF. Okay.
mhm,
However, I'm almost sure the expenses outside of Portugal are not deductible. So only the ones from Portuguese suppliers and that have our NIF on it and that are in e-fatura. And if are not, but you have the invoice and the NIF, then you can manually add not only at e-fatura, this work should be done until March, okay? But you also can add manually in the JH attachment. I can quickly show the H attachment, deduções ao rendimento. Here in the 9, sorry, deduções, yeah. Benefits, no, it's not here, so I don't use these ones for so many times. It's this one. Deduções à coleta, not in income. It's the sixth one. So here, health, education, and property rentals, basically. So if you want to add manually, you have to tell no, I don't want to use. Yes, I want to add. They are going to ask for our family NIFs, and they will be here. Okay, so you can add. I already have here one by default from health that is in e-fatura as well. It's the only one I have. And here you can edit manually, okay? But only if it is possible to deduct. If you have an expense, not an e-fatura, but it's not possible to deduct, to be or not to be in e-fatura or here, it's irrelevant, okay? But manually, it's here. You have to edit line by line, okay?
Mm-hmm. Awesome, Jack. Thank you so much. Thank you so much about this because yes, we do have a deadline until March, until the end of the March to place our invoices on e-factura, but we have this option that is great to when we miss this deadline, for example. So thank you so much, Jack, for this insight. Now we have other questions that people sent to us before this webinar. So let's go through them, Tiago. So the first one are a little bit generic, but what are some common mistakes people make when filling their IRS declaration and how can they avoid them?
Okay. I already told them the two major ones, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When you have category B income here, this is a common one. Normally, when people have income just one entity, they put yes, they have to, and then oh yeah, I already have salary, so yeah, maybe they don't know for sure why is this question, but if you click yes, it's a huge impact because you will pay way more taxes. So this is the first one. If it's the case, no. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one are the englobement options. Englobement options. I don't know if I have anyone to englobar. Yeah, opções do englobamento. So anytime you see these words, always run away from it. No, 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 no. Unless you have lower income, okay? This option is here. It's not a trap. However, it's tricky because if you have a lower income, even though, let me give you two examples, very quick ones. Dividends pay 28% tax, okay, in Portugal. So let's say you receive dividends, you buy stocks, and you have some dividend or you have equity in one company, you are receiving dividends. If you choose não, no aglomeramento, no, you are going to pay 28%. If you choose englobamento, all right, the dividends will be added to your salary. But let's say you have 5,000 euro salary and 5,000 euro dividends. So your total income will be 10,000 euro. 10,000 euro in Portugal, you pay zero tax, okay? Or even if you have 20,000, maybe your rates will be 18% rate, 21, but after deductions, you may pay less than 28. Okay, for 20K, for sure, you will pay less than 28. So if you have a lower income, it's better to choose this option because you will pay less than 28. If your IRS rates are higher than 28, then it's clever to say no, because I will pay only 28. Okay? Let's say you have 10,000 euro salary and 50K on dividends. With 10,000 euro salaries, you will pay zero and 28 on 50K dividends. But if you choose englobamento, your total income will be 60, and for 60, you will pay like 40%. Okay, this is the reason. So this is very common, and also for every income. I'm telling the dividend example, but this works for rentals, for even for NHR. Even for NHR, sometimes if you have lower income, you will pay less than 20%. So you, in this case, you have to choose the option no somewhere here. No, this is the J. Sorry. The NHR have the autonomous tax or englobamento. It's the same logical. Okay, so these are the two main common mistakes sometimes people do. I don't see any other, at least
Mm-hmm.
important. Okay.
Awesome, Jack. Thank you. These were two major ones, actually. Um,
Yeah.
and I think for my experience, we had actually workers that had NHR, and we have to see if it is most profitable for them to have like the 20%. or not?
Ye-
Because sometimes they can deduct less. So we really
Yes.
have to think a little
Not
bit. Yeah.
okay. If you we have more 3 minutes, I can give I think it's going to be an important tip.
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
All right. So I'm going to take out the salaries. I'm going to take out the bookkeeping for freelancers, the capital gains, and this one for deductions, and this one. You see here these options. So anytime you want to save the file and come back later, you just click here, and then when you open, you upload the file. And here, anytime you are lost or you want to check before you submit, if you click here, they will give you the alerts. Of course, mine it's all red because I didn't fill it, but you have to fill everything. And it's a good walkthrough. Sometimes if you click here, you'll see the mistakes, you just run them, okay? Because at least the mandatory fields, as you can see, you have to confirm the IBAN. This is the first declaration of the year, simplified regime, professional income. You see, we just go, don't have a permanent status, and blah, 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 blah. All right. So what I want to show you is here, I'm just putting an example. Here, it doesn't matter. 6,000, no, 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 no. 6,000, no, no, and no cryptos. Where are the cryptos? Here. Ah, okay. I'm going to put single because I'm married. I need to put my wife's NIF. Yeah. Okay. So let's say you are a freelancer, and most of you for sure is, and you are an HR. Okay, and you want to see if it is beneficial to claim the NHR just to pay 20, or if in the normal regime you may pay less than 20. Okay, so this button here, this option, it's a simulator. Okay, and this simulator only works. Wait, yeah, residence only works when you have 100% Portuguese income and 100% Portuguese residency. The error, oh, my, I'm running out of bed. I have here in my example before I put the residency, the partial residency, so it didn't work. 1 second, because I'm running out of bed. 10%. Okay, so here you can see, for example, 6,000 euros. Freelancers pay tax on 75%, like I told at the beginning, right? This is 75% of 6,000. So this is the income subject to tax. And the rate is 14.5. It's the minimum rate. But since I didn't reach the threshold to start paying tax, zero tax to pay. Okay, cool. But I'm going to put a little bit more. So in this example, clearly it's better not to pay the 20%.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Exactly.
do 25,000. 25,000. So before you attach the NHR, the foreign income, if your clients are outside of Portugal, let's make this quotation in Portugal. So in this example, I'm paying 28.5. So again, 75% of the 25. So I'm paying 3,500 euros. So the freelancers, the NHR they will pay 28 on this amount, and there are no deductions. These are the expense deductions. There are no deductions. So if we do 20% on 18,750 times 20 is 3,750. Perfect example. So 20%, the NHR play a flat rate, no deductions. Okay. If I choose to pay NHR in this example, I will be paying 3,750, which is 20% of 18,000, the total income, right? Without NHR, I'm paying less 250 euros. It's 3,507. Okay. So before you add your NHR, and even if you have foreign incomes, like the previous question, if you have from this 25, let's say you have 10,000 from a Portuguese company, or even the 100% for a foreign company, you have to add the J attachment to put there the income, right? And if you have the J, the simulator doesn't work. For foreign income doesn't work. Okay, so you can do it before just to see if it is better to pay the normal tax regime or the foreign regime. Okay, I'm just going to show you, and in this example, funny enough, it's better. So B, let's say you have 25,000, but to foreign country, you already make the quotation. It's better to pay the normal tax. As you can see, doesn't work. Doesn't work. So it's only available for Portuguese income. Okay, that's why I made that example. So you may, before adding the J and also the NHR attachments, put your income as 100% Portuguese, everything in the attachment B, make the quotation, and then you will see if it is better to add the NHR or not. Okay. All right.
Exactly. Awesome,
Let's
Tiago.
say
Great tip.
500. Yeah, I think this one is also important. If it is 500, I believe it will be better. So in this case, 37. So in the normal regime, I'll be paying 9,966. If you do 20% times 37,500 is 7,500. So in this case, clearly it's better to add the NHR and
Mm-hmm.
choose the alternative tax. Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Awesome, Tiago. Thank you for this simulation, just for us to understand a little bit better what is exactly better in this case, if with the NHR or not in this case. So thank you for this insight. We have another question. Tiago, that is, thanks for this webinar. What are the consequences of non-compliance with Portuguese tax laws, and what steps can be taken to mitigate risks? I mean, how do I know if I register something wrong in my IRS declaration?
Okay. First of all, if is anything wrong, even if you tick the wrong boxes and you will pay more or less taxes, or you add the NHR when you should not be adding because you will pay less taxes outside, regardless of that, anytime you want to deliver, it's not possible. Okay. If you want to deliver, they will show you there are errors.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, before you deliver, click validate just to see if everything is okay. Okay, so this is the first step. And if it's okay, you will be complying for sure. Not necessarily be more tax efficient, but there is no way you will deliver a tax return wrong. Okay, the system doesn't allow to be complying with everything in general. First of all, let's see if I am. the Once you enter, you log in your tax authority, you will see here an alert. If I have any tax fines or something to pay, it will be here red alert, okay, and saying you have fines and everything. So that's a second thing, including IRS. After you deliver, let's say you don't pay it or something like that, you will have here alerts. And third, or at least, but not at last, but not least, you will be notified by the tax authority. What I advise you, everyone, is to have your contacts. I can go here, notificações, to have your contacts updated. Okay, because anything that is wrong, anything, regardless what it is, the tax authority will notify you. The standard and legal way for the notifications are by mail, but sometimes, assuming most of you have rentals and then you change houses or you have Airbnbs or whatever, you don't have like a permanent fixed address, and they will be sending your letters to the address that you have listed here in your profile. So every taxpayer, we have our address, our tax authority address. So this is the address they will be sending letters to you, okay? But if you have your contacts updated, they send the notifications by email, by telephone, and so ever. And they also have, like, for example, via CTT, it's like electronic mailbox the tax authorities use, but at least your email should be confirmed, okay? You can go to Gerir Canais. You can search here, Gerir Canais, okay? And at least your email should be here, because anything wrong, they will send you like email alert, something like that. And if possible, you can also activate this. For the ones that doesn't have, you have the option to activate. You will create an account in this CTT. It's our courier company. They have a protocol with the government. They have like it's a digital mailbox, okay? It's like an email but differently. So if you have your contacts updated, your address updated at the tax authority, there is no chance you will miss anything wrong, because they will notify you, okay? To fix that, that's a different story. It will depend on the problem you have, okay?
Exactly. Okay, Tiago, thank you so much for that. Inside you,
Mhm.
we have actually I will just reminded something that everyone can subscribe to their newsletter too, and receive information from the newsletter. That is also a great thing, that you just got new information every month. So that's another tip that I have actually. So the
Yeah,
tax authority, they have a newsletter that is very useful too, and they every month they generate new insights. Not quite sure where to subscribe, because I
it,
don't remember.
it's here.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
they are here. This is what Thelma is showing. But if you once you confirm your contact, or you add your email, I don't know if yeah, it's here. For example, I have my email already activated, and here is the once you add your numbers in your email, it's this box. I want to receive notification emails. If you put yes, they will send you these emails with tips and newsletters and everything. If you put no, no, they just notify you for legal things like fines and something like that.
Mhm.
Here, Thelma. Okay.
Exactly. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Tiago, for sharing that too. Tiago, we have one last question because we are running out of time, but
Mhm.
is regarding declarations of income from crypto assets. For example, a person who has been making purchases of 1,000 euros every year since 2019. If at the moment he wants to withdraw 1,000 euros, since he has already deposited 1,000 euros, x 5,000 euros in this case, how would he have to declare the capital gains? Do I only have to declare when I withdraw more than 500?
Uh,
1,000, sorry.
More than 1,000, I believe. I think it's
1,000.
1,000.
Yeah, I said 100, but it is 1,000, sorry.
It's 1,000. Yeah, yeah. I think it's
1,000, yeah.
1,000. Yeah. So, and this is for crypto and also all the other capital gains. Okay, even if we buy and sell stocks, like I do, for example, that's why I have this attachment, because I have stocks that I sold, so that's why I have to declare. And the same for cryptos. So if you sell crypto
Mm-hmm.
assets, and in this case you withdraw. So when you withdraw, you are buying euros, right? So you are selling crypto and buying euros. It's a capital gain, and you only need to declare if you have more, if you withdraw more than 1,000, and the crypto was held less than 12 months. Okay. All the other capital income, anytime you sell and you receive a gain or a loss, okay, you have to declare. And where? If in Portugal is in the G attachment, and alienação onerosa de bens imóveis, here, it's here, okay? You have to add here and choose the type, if it are stocks, equity, others, and I think crypto will be here somewhere. Crypto actives here, okay? It's the G25. And then you have to put the year, the month, and the day you
Chuck,
sell. This is sell.
sorry,
Yeah.
we aren't seeing your screen. It's frozen.
Ah, sorry. I opened in another. Oh, you should tell me before. Sorry. I was I was with the another browser open. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. All right. So if you sell Portuguese crypto, which I think crypto are all in foreigners, foreign companies, forgive me my ignorance, but I think crypto may be all, if not all, the majority at least, from outside of Portugal. Okay, but nevertheless, the mechanism is the same. So, depending if it is in Portugal, crypto or any stocks, or outside of Portugal, it's here. Okay, and then capital, you have to add here the line. So, the code of the income is the crypto assets. This one, E25, capital income crypto assets. Okay. The country, say Germany, for instance, your income. So you will withdraw 2,000 because it's more than one. And if you pay tax in that country or not, and if you pay tax in Portugal. Okay. And again, the red alert question, government, yes or no? If you have lower income, maybe let's say you only have this income, yes, I will pay less taxes. If no, you will pay 28% of this. Okay, but it's here, and it's the same for the G. The G, it's the same if it is in Portugal. It's here. Then you have to add the line here, and it's going to be this one, avaliação onerosa de criptoativos. Okay. So Portuguese or outside of Portuguese is here, you have to declare. And this works for all the capital gains, not only for cryptos, okay? So the answer is for all the type of income, even properties, when you sell any property, okay?
Okay, Tiago. Thanks. Thank you. Awesome. I think Eduardo also appreciate this answer as well. As he said, Tiago, we already ran out of time. Thank you so much for your insights. And please, to everyone, if you have any questions, more questions, please contact directly Tiago or Landing.Jobs, and we will put you in contact with Tiago as well, just for him to highlight any questions that you have and to answer to everything. Tiago, thank you so much again for your great insights, for your simulations too. It was really a pleasure to hear everything. It was really insightful, and thank you so much to everyone that were here as well. And this session also will be recorded, so you will have the recording later, just for you to rewatch everything and to hear again every tip that Tiago shared here at this webinar. So thank you so much and have a
Thank
great week
you.
ahead too.
Hopefully help somehow anyone. And see you next time. I will be here for any question, anything you need. So thank you once again. Bye bye.
Bye everyone. Thank you so much.